What's up everyone, this is Joe coming to you from Nankin Hobby, and today we're going to be talking about the new Traxxas XRT. Now this is the newest release from Traxxas. In fact, it's not even released yet. This is coming next Friday, but we got our first display model today and at all of our stores, so we figured, we got 4 of them, let's take one of them out and break it. So that's what we did. Now, before we even opened the box, it was pretty obvious that something was different about this truck. The box, one would have expected to be about the size of the xmaxx. However, the xmaxx box is huge. This thing was kind of big. It was kind of like a Revo-sized box. It really wasn't living up to what I expected the box size to be, which threw me. In fact, when the shipping box came in, I wasn't even sure that this was the XRT. It said XRT on the side, but was very skeptical. But we opened it up, and it's this Revo-sized box. We opened that up, and inside, it's this very wide thing, but it's not tall at all. Part of this was because the tires weren't on the truck in the box, and I kind of suspect that's maybe the way we're going to start seeing xmaxxes and all of the bigger vehicles come. It obviously saves them some money on shipping, and I guess I'm not super upset with that. Oftentimes, vehicles out of the box, wheel nuts aren't tightened or anything, so this ensures that that'll be done. So that's not a complaint, but it was kind of weird to see that. But because they weren't on the truck in the box, we had to inspect the tires that came in their own little package, and I don't think that would have been the first thing I noticed otherwise, but I'm kind of glad it was, because these are new tires. These are the Traxxas tires. The wheels they just call XRT wheels, nothing special there, but Traxxas is a cool name, and they look to be pretty cool tires. They look to be kind of roadworthy, but also a little bit more aggressive than the average street tire. So I think they're going to be a pretty good mix of all-terrain. However, if I'm being honest, we really didn't do much off-roading. We did a little bit on the pavement, and then we took it to the skate park. That's kind of the intent today. New vehicle, we want to see what it takes to break it. So we really didn't do much off-road. But they look like they could probably do reasonably well in the grass. If you're going to be taking this off-road more exclusively, you'll probably want to pick up something else, but they did pretty darn well on the pavement, and I fully expect them to be, just fine through normal grass, dirt, what might be around your yard, for example. If you're going through really aggressive terrain, maybe pick up a pair of, Pro-Lime trenchers, or honestly, a belted tire might be good for this anyway. The wheels are turning at pretty high speeds. This is actually capable of 60 mile an hour as opposed to 50 on the xmaxx. I think it's a little bit lighter weight, but I think it's just geared more aggressively. But because it's geared more aggressively, they've taken precautions to prevent overheating, and I think that's super cool. If you watched our X01 unboxing that we just did, at the newer version of the X01, you would see that the body actually has vents in it to allow for airflow, and that's true of the XRT also. In fact, with the XRT, they did it a little bit better. All of the frame that's made of plastic in the body, that's your clipless mounting system, that is incorporating the vents for the cooling, which is very cool. It's got some rigidity there. It's just not slats cut into the body. A lot of people would do that with any body, really, but this is actually, it feels very intentional. I think that's pretty cool. Also, it has a clipless body, and unlike the xmaxx or the Maxx that have the little kind of turnkey sort of latch, this has something more akin to like some of the crawlers that they do the clipless body on, like the K10, the on-road cars, the newest Fortec 3 has the latches kind of underneath, and I think that works a lot better. Feeling it as we were unlatching the body, it kind of felt like it might come off during running, but we didn't have that issue, and in fact you can grab the truck from the body and it doesn't seem to come off, so good job with that. Electronics wise, this is basically an xmaxx. This is coming with the same motor, the same ESC, that's the VXL 8S ESC. The motor does have dual cooling fans, which is another feature to prevent overheating, because again, this is rated for a little bit more speed than like what the xmaxx is, despite still being a pretty darn heavy truck. But aside from that, the electronics are pretty much the same. The battery trays are very similar to the xmaxx. I think they open the opposite way, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of irrelevant though. They were capable of fitting bigger batteries than what I expected them to be. They look very shallow, but we threw in some Gen Ace 6800 bashing packs. Those are 4S packs. They're a pretty large capacity. These are 120C packs, and they're bigger than most batteries. So I really didn't expect those to fit, but they did. And those were kind of the batteries that I was really hoping to use, so I'm glad they did fit. Means you have a little bit of room for different battery options. Assuredly, you're going to see different companies doing Velcro straps and all kinds of different hold-down options for even bigger packs moving forward. It's a Traxxas vehicle, so you know you're going to get all kinds of aftermarket support for this. But right out of the box, you're able to run some pretty decent-sized batteries, and that's pretty darn cool too. So we took this initially to, to the skate park, but initially we were running in the parking lot at the skate park in Westland. This is called Concrete Jungle. It's one of the cooler skate parks around, I think. We actually looked up some other skate parks on Google while we were there, because there were some people there for a little while, and we didn't want to kind of interfere with people skating or riding bikes. But they kind of cleared out, but we have some ideas for some of the next videos. We will go to other skate parks in the area, but this was at Concrete Jungle in Westland. Initially we were in the parking lot and we just kind of whipped it around a little bit. It's fast. For a truck that size, it's kind of ridiculously fast actually. The xmaxx is, 50 miles an hour is quick for a truck that's 5th scale, 6th scale, that size. That's a lot of mass moving around that quickly. The xmaxx is doing 50, but you're not often, running at those top speeds. The xmaxx is a little bit more prone to flipping over. It's a higher center of gravity. However, the XRT, it's more like a truggy, so you are at those higher end of the throttle a little bit more often. So it really moves. It's a little bit intimidating at first if it's coming toward you. Don't let that happen at home. But it also handles very well at those speeds. We did roll it a couple times, but it really does handle quite well. It's got a big wing on it that you kind of see in like the new X01. They improved the wing there, and this almost looks a little bit inspired by that, plus the airflow that you see in the body. The wheelie bar, the xmaxx also has a wheelie bar. It is a lower center of gravity, but it'll still wheelie. You can see in some of the video that we rode a wheelie for a while with this. But I was really just impressed by how little it rolled. It's a really well handling platform, and it handles a little bit more aggressive stuff too. So we actually took it into the bowls at the skate park. We launched it a few times. We kind of started out slow because we knew we were going to break it eventually. That was kind of the point of going out. But we didn't want to break it immediately. Parts aren't quite available for this. So we kind of started a little bit slowly and just had some fun with it. And then as some of the bowls over to one side of the park started to clear out, there were some BMX riders there. As that started to clear out, we actually kind of sent it a little bit. And you can see in some of the videos that we really didn't hold back at all, and it held up quite well. We launched it several times. We launched it pretty darn high. It finally did break, however. When it came down, it landed on its rear and then immediately kind of flipped back onto its nose. We broke the wing mount. We bent the center drive shaft. We broke the front bulkhead, and we stripped both the spur and the pinion. Now, if you remember back in our sledge video, we broke a lot of things. In fact, I think a lot of maybe even a lot of the same things now that I think about it. But when we broke that, it was kind of unexpected. I think it was just kind of a fluke thing. We didn't really do anything serious. This time, it was pretty expected. The way that it came down, it probably should have broke. So I don't really fault the XRT much for that. We were out for a while and we were beating on it pretty hard, so I don't think it's a serious thing that this broke. Anything's going to break if you abuse it. That's kind of what we were setting out to do, is to push the limits of this. But I was impressed by how well it held up despite breaking in the end. When we got back to the shop, Dave took and it was making a noise that was obviously like a spur gear, but it didn't really sound like teeth were missing. It just sounded like something was free spinning. And I know on the sledge at one point, the pinion just the set screw backed off and it was spinning. And we thought that a gear had went when in fact it didn't. We were hoping that was going to be the case with this, but no, in fact, we did tear up some teeth on the pinion and the spur gear, both metal, by the way. In tearing it apart, we kind of noticed something that's a little bit different on the XRT versus the xmaxx. There's a brace that goes across the back, and to actually access your gearing, it's a little bit more difficult than it would be with the xmaxx. But I mean, it's a little bit of a design difference. Some of the parts are the same as the xmaxx, some of them are new. It is very similar to the xmaxx overall, but it's still a brand new truck, really. I think if I were looking at a truck in this size, it's kind of competing with the xmaxx, it's competing with the Creighton 8S, I guess the Outcast 8S a little bit too, more directly with the Creighton 8S because it's just, a similar 5th scale truggy, I suppose, and the xmaxx, which is kind of its brother. I think looking at any of those, I really like the XRT. Personally, over the xmaxx, I just like the way it handles a little bit better. And compared to like the Creighton 8S, the Creighton 8S it's great. However, the chassis is one of the bigger things to replace, and it's very expensive. It's an aluminum chassis. If you tweak that at all, it's kind of a pain. The XRT is a plastic chassis like the xmaxx, so it's A, inexpensive, B, has some flex to it. You're less likely to break it in the first place. I really like that. I think this is kind of made to be, durable like the xmaxx. The xmaxx is a tank. This is very similar to that. I'm really excited for this. I think especially as we move into the Christmas season, if you're looking for a RC vehicle of this size, of this kind of capability, the XRT is going to be the ticket. So if you haven't already pre-ordered yours, head over to nankinhobby.com. Again, I don't know if you've seen any of the marketing material that we've put out for this, but it is worth noting that the XRT is only going to be available in store. So you're going to have to stop into one of our 4 locations to actually pick that up. This is going to be an in-store pickup only. However, you can still pre-order it on our website. These will be available very quickly. These are coming next Friday. That is November 4th. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. We just did a giveaway for an Outcast 4S last week, I believe. We're going to be doing more of that kind of stuff moving forward. Be sure that you're subscribed. Like the video, drop a comment on the video. Tell us what you prefer. Do you like the XRT, the xmaxx? Would you rather get into like an ARMA 5th scale? We're really kind of curious how you feel about this versus its competitors. Share this video with your friends, do all that stuff. Make sure that you're following us on other social media channels. I know we're going to be doing a giveaway on TikTok here soon. Also Facebook, YouTube, do all that kind of stuff. You know what it is. We will see you on the next one.